recognition by Kellogg's. Mike is proof of what you can accomplish when you confront life's challenges head on. Mike is a winner and an example to us all. We're proud and honored that he is a member of our community. I yield back.
The gentleman yields. The chair recognizes the gentleman from Texas, Mr. Green, for 5 minutes.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I'm always grateful to have this preeminent privilege of standing in the well of the Congress of the United States of America. Mr. Speaker, I rise today to announce that 3 prominent Democrats have asked to meet with me to discuss impeachment. Mr. Speaker, I will meet with them. I will meet with them in my office, and here's what I will say. I will tell them that impeachment is not about Democrats, that it's not about Republicans. I will tell them that it's about democracy. It's about government of the people, by the people, for the people. I will tell them that it's about the republic, that it's about what Franklin said, we have a republic if we can keep it. I will tell them that I refuse to sit on the sidelines while the world is considering one of the great issues of our time. I will tell them that I will continue, that I will be a part of this great debate. I will tell them the words that I have heard, but I do not know the origin of. I will tell them that if a man does not keep pace with his companions, perhaps he hears a different drummer. Let him step to the music he hears, however measured, however far away. Mr. Speaker, I will tell them that tomorrow we will bring articles of impeachment to the floor of the Congress of the United States of America for a vote. I yield back the balance of my time.
The gentleman yields. The chair recognizes the gentleman from Alabama, Mr. Byrne, for 5 minutes.
Mr. Speaker, I rise to commemorate National Miners Day. National Miners Day is recognized on December 6th each year, and I want to express my deep appreciation to the hundreds of thousands of men and women who work in our nation's quarries, dredge operations, and other mine facilities to help build and power our nation. These workers do a great deal to extract the materials found in every home, building, road, bridge, and public works project. U.S. domestic production and use of stone, sand, and gravel, or aggregates, amounted to 2.5 billion tons of crushed stone. It valued at $25 billion. The U.S. Mine Safety and Health Administration has reported that throughout 140 facilities, almost 3,000 people in my home state of Alabama owe their jobs to aggregates mining. While performing this critical function, workers in the aggregate sector have helped make workplaces the safest they have ever been. In fact, 2016 marked the 16th consecutive year in which the industry reduced its injury rate from the year earlier level. The rate stood at the record low level of just 1.95 injuries per 200,000 hours worked. I applaud the safe practices of the aggregates industry and the hard-working men and women who are helping to continue this positive trend. As chairman of the House Workforce Protection Subcommittee, I look forward to continuing to work with the Labor Department's Mine Safety and Health Administration to advance smart regulation and preventative enforcement that can help keep the workplace safe. Mr. Speaker, I rise today to remember the life of Dr. Laurel Blackwell. Laurel recently passed away after fighting cancer and other medical issues. Laurel was raised at her childhood farm home in Monticello, Iowa. She obtained an associate's degree from Cotty College in Missouri and a bachelor's degree from the University of Northern Iowa. She later earned her doctorate in administration of higher education from the University of Alabama. After an early career in K-12 education, she started working in Alabama's community college system. She rose from serving as a tutor to becoming the director of adult education at Wallace Community College in Dothan, Alabama, and the director of workforce development at Southern Union Community College in Opelika. Ultimately, she would become the president at Chattahoochee Valley Community College in Phoenix City, Alabama. During my time as chancellor of Alabama's community college system, I grew to know Laurel as a very professional and dependable colleague. I appreciated her honest and direct approach to the issues we faced together. During her career, she held numerous roles in professional and civic organizations. She was recognized with a Girl Scout Woman Achievement Award and as the City of Dothan's first ever Community Leader of the Year. Even though she retired from education, she never stopped working to make the world a better place. She launched Communities of Transformation, a program through the United Methodist Church focused on bringing together people from every segment of society to elevate families. Suffice it to say, Laurel had a positive impact on so many lives throughout her time on this earth, whether it was helping a student at her community college reach their full potential or giving hope to a struggling family. So many people owe their success to Laurel Blackwell. So, on behalf of Alabama's 1st Congressional District, I want to share my deepest condolences with Laurel's husband, Fred, and their 4 children. I hope they can all take comfort in knowing that Laurel will live on in the lives of countless individuals she touched, and she will be sorely missed. I yield back.
The gentleman yields. The chair recognizes the gentleman from Pennsylvania, Mr. Kelly, for 5 minutes.
Thank the Speaker. I rise today in honor of one of my constituents, United States Marine Major Eric Burkett from Newcastle, Pennsylvania. Major Burkett was deployed as a member of the 24th Expeditionary Force in Morocco as an Osprey pilot. On April 11, 2012, he was nearly killed in a plane crash, a crash which took the lives of 2 of his brothers in arms. After coming home to Walter Reed, he lost one of his legs, and he continues to recover from his numerous injuries to this day. His wife, Melissa, who also is a former Marine, has been by his side from day one, along with their loving 6 children. Major Burkett may never fly again, but already with his recovery, he soars high above most of us. It was his spirit of service and patriotism that led him to start a program at Fort Belvoir for adaptive archery for his fellow wounded warriors. I proudly submit for the record this poem, penned by Albert Carey Caswell in his honor and in celebration of his new adapted home built thanks to the Gary Sinise Foundation. At this time, I'd like to read an excerpt from this poem. As his 2 brothers, angels now up to heaven would rise, coming back home with only his family upon which to rely, so all by his side, his fine wife Melissa and children giving the strength to try, as he knew it was time to rebuild his life, armed with his heart of strength and iron will, giving the power and courage to nourish him to instill that strength to rebuild, who against all odds our wounded warriors into that dark night move onward still. Mr. Speaker, it is people like Major Burkett who we celebrate. People who put themselves in danger, in harm's way, in order to protect the rest of us. I'm so proud and so humbled to be able today to submit this poem in honor of Major Burkett, and I yield back.
The gentleman yields. The chair recognizes the gentleman from Texas, Mr. Arrington, for 5 minutes.
Mr. Speaker, I'm proud to represent a rural district in West Texas that is home to 14 million acres of farmland and thousands of hard-working farmers and ranchers. These men and women are feeding and clothing the American people. They're bolstering our economy, and they're strengthening our national security. As a member of the House Agriculture Committee, I'm committed to delivering results that are in the best interest not only of West Texans, but all Americans, and doing that with my neighbor and strong leader of the Ag Committee, Mike Conaway. As we craft the next Farm Bill, excuse me, there are a few priorities that, if achieved, will put our United States farmers and ranchers and our country as a whole in the strongest competitive position. The first is we must maintain America's food and fiber independence from other countries, which, like energy independence, is a national security imperative. To achieve this objective, we must maintain a viable and responsible safety net for all commodities, which means the committee must work in a bipartisan way to get cotton back in under Title I of the Farm Bill. And we can never again let the World Trade Organization dictate agriculture policy to the United States. Addressing the gaping hole in the current agriculture safety net for cotton and fixing other shortfalls in the risk management program for both crops and livestock will ensure a strong, viable ag sector for the United States and for rural America. Unfortunately, or ultimately rather, we must maintain appropriate programs to mitigate against unforeseen global market changes in commodity prices, ensure against adverse weather events, and maintain access to credit so farmers across the country can continue to supply America with an abundant and affordable source of food. Additionally, as Texas is the top cattle producing state in the nation and represents $80 billion in annual cash receipts nationwide, maintaining key livestock disaster programs are equally important to a responsible and effective safety net for our ag producers. Second, our rural communities need greater access to broadband communications to be viable in the modern era. Increasing access to broadband is fundamental to the survival of rural America. It is necessary to support critical infrastructure such as health care and education and for overall economic sustainability so that we can finally close the digital divide between rural and urban America. Let me put it to you this way. No rural America, no food, fuel, and fiber for the American people. Third, we need another generation of farmers and ranchers. The American agriculturalist is facing tough times. The average age of the farmer is nearly 60, and the number of people involved in ag production in their 30s and 40s continues to decrease dramatically. And this with less than 1% of the American population involved in ag production. The math doesn't look promising. Operating expenses continue to rise, and farmers, particularly the young ones, have less equity to finance their operations. Farmers of all ages need a dependable and flexible operating loan structure with loan amounts that are useful, and we must work to ensure that USDA has the flexibility it needs to extend credit to in the most meaningful way. Fourth, innovation makes it possible for the farmer and rancher to continue to operate. Ensuring adequate and equitable research funding for agriculture colleges across the country is key. Let's not just pour all of our money into the land-grant institutions just because they're land-grant institutions. Let's fund the best ideas. It's called meritocracy. It's what our country was founded on. As former Vice Chancellor for Research and Technology Commercialization at Texas Tech University, I saw some of the best and most innovative ideas spawn from research go to the market and make a difference for our economy and the quality of our lives. Lastly, the Supplemental Nutrition Assistance Program needs a more focused accountability. As we craft the next Farm Bill, we should continue to monitor the effectiveness of all programs, but especially SNAP, which accounts for 80% of all spending in the Farm Bill. While the intent of SNAP is well-meaning, the unintended consequence is an increase of recipients who are work-capable adults without dependents, accounting for nearly 30% of all recipients. It is imperative to require that able-bodied adults work in order to receive government assistance, not just in SNAP, but all government programs. Mr. Speaker, in closing, our farmers and ranchers are essential to the vitality and security of this great nation, and this legislation is extremely critical to the success of our farmers. By including the priorities I've outlined today in the next Farm Bill, we can ensure a safer, stronger, freer America for our children. Mr. Speaker, I yield back.
The gentleman yields. The chair recognizes the gentleman from Kentucky, Mr. Barr, for 5 minutes.